Good evening, ghouls and gals, freaks and creeps, and welcome to the Terrorized podcast, where we'll be talking about everything from the paranormal, the strange, the haunted, occult, murder mysteries, true crimes, and everything in between. Everything to satisfy your spine tingling and gut wrenching needs. I'm your lead host, Sebastian, and as always, is with me is my co host.
Kirk.
So, today, folks, we're going to be talking about mimics. You know them, you've heard a lot about them, those TikTok and YouTube sensations. Not gonna lie to you guys, really weird subject to talk about because not a whole lot about them is known. Even with us trying to put together this episode, it's a bit of a head scratcher, so information's kind of limited, but this is about the best we're gonna be able to give you guys. So, Eric, why don't you go ahead and take it away, brother?
All right, well, mimics, also known as doppelgangers, are supernatural entities that deeply rooted in folklore and mythology from various cultures. The term doppelgangers originates from Germany, translating to double goer or double walker. In certain mythology, doppelgangers are believed to be malevolent beings. They take on the form of individuals, often bringing misfortune or foretelling impending doom. Legends of doppelgangers have existed for centuries, which makes them a significant part of paranormal folklore, and it is from these beliefs where mimics seem to stem from. Though closely related to ghosts, mimics share some traits commonly associated with demons due to their unpredictable and chaotic nature.
So, what I want to know is where did mimics even come from? Because it wasn't even until the last year and a half that the whole mimic sensation just kind of blew up.
Well, I'm barely learning about them. And we've been into paranormal stuff for quite a while. You know, we've seen stuff from residual ghosts, the haunted houses, haunted asylums. Uh, what do you see? What else?
Things about possession,
Shins,
UFOs,
demons.
you name it, something else.
But mimics, I'm just starting to learn about.
Yeah, I barely just started getting into them, really just going through this episode, and then I kind of went through the whole mimic rabbit hole. There is literally hundreds and hundreds of videos. I'm talking like damn near hitting the thousands. And it's so crazy because it was like that whole Zozo demon, which there will be an episode on, by the way. You know, not a shameless plug or anything, but like how the Zozo demon just like kind of took off and it became part of like the creepypasta culture, the whole Ouija board culture. Like as quickly as it came, it just blew up, and it's so weird to see like where they even originate from and all that.
Well, I'm noticing, like you said, a lot of videos now. Um, like one I saw while doing research was of a man walking through his home, and he sees his wife standing in the corner of the kitchen, but he knew when he went downstairs that she was upstairs. So when he passes by and she says nothing to him but keeps her back to him, he calls out to her, and when she answers him, he asks if she's still upstairs, and he says yes. And at the same time, you can see her standing downstairs.
Oh hell no.
So, hence, they say they can take the form and mimic voices of people.
Dude, tell me why I literally just saw that video getting ready for the episode. I started, like I said, going through this whole mimic rabbit hole. I saw another video where this little girl, I think her name is Bailey or Kaylee, I forgot which one it was. She's sitting on her bed and she hears her mom, but I think she said her mom should have been at work because you know how TikToks, they just leave the little subtitles. I think she said she was at work or she's gone. And the mom has like this really like super bubbly, energetic voice. You know, it's very welcoming. Um, she just sits there at first and she's like, Mom, and she's like, yeah, let me in, let me in. She's like, I thought you were gone. So the mimic is shaking the door handle. I mean, it's like shaking the door handle. So she goes over to it and she's like, Mom, why can't you open the door? And she's, what if her name is Kaylee or Bailey? In the middle of her talking to it, it's all Bailey, Bailey, Bailey. And it's like making this weird growl, grumble sound to call her. And she like just backs up, sits back on her bed. I'm like, to hear something like that is absolutely just gut wrenching.
I also saw a video of mother and her young son laying on her bed, and I believe she's like reading him a story, or they're watching TV, and the door handle starts to shake, and she hears the voice of her other son, but she knows her other son is at a sleepover, and the handle continues to shake, and she can hear the voice of her son telling her, Mom, I'm hungry, can you make me something to eat? And she's telling him there's food in the microwave, go just get the food. And he keeps going, no, I want you to cook for me. And the handle continues to shake, and if I'm not mistaken, the door almost comes open, but she knows that the son is gone.
Question: is it like I think it's like a Mexican girl, or she
Uh,
looks like she could be.
I believe it is.
Okay, so I saw a part two to that. It's almost the same thing. She's trying to get out of her bedroom window,
Yes,
and the
it's
door actually swings open.
yes.
Oh, dude, hell no! As soon as I saw that, I'm like, immediately that what went through my head is, you've never ever seen the videos where they open the door. What happens now that the door is open?
I don't know.
Like, I bet you anything can you even call it a poltergeist at this point?
I would just say it's some kind of an entity.
Yeah, because they're a tough nut to crack because there's nothing really known about them.
Well, here are some characteristics of mimics. Um, they are shape-shifting entities that possess uncanny ability to mimic the appearance and mannerism of beings, including humans. So it's not only humans, but they can mimic animals.
I was right about to ask that. So they can look like animals?
Yes. Um, they seamlessly assume physical appearances of, I guess you could say, their targets. Um, they have the ability to read the minds of the person they're mimicking. So I'm assuming that'll be their way to be able to get their mannerisms down, to be able to mimic the voice.
See, that's crazy. I didn't even know they had a kind of a telepathic ability. Man, that is crazy. To think about it, I mean, goofy comparison. If you were to take like the Thing from Carpenter and just not make it an alien, make it a ghost. That's almost exactly what you're gonna get if you think about it.
Yeah.
That is one of the,
makes sense.
as weird as a comparison as that is, that's basically what it is. That is one of the, just man. This episode you're gonna hear me stammer a lot because this is some interesting stuff.
See, they're virtually indistinguishable from the original. Even though they look identical, they say experienced hunters or spirit guides can sense an unsettling or a slight difference in their behavior of a mimic.
So there's are very, very small distinguishable signs between them and the original.
Basically, Um, they say that the mimics can be fooled into momentarily showing their true form for when you're encountering a mimic that is posing as yourself. A loved one or friend, they say, is bad omen, because the mimics are often malicious. They haunt their victim, relentlessly, posing as people close to whoever they're targeting.
So that sounds almost poltergeist, kind of poltergeist like, where it's meant to, like a whittle effect, to slowly break you down. I wonder what would happen if the person who's being mimicked encountered their mimic.
Well, I saw uh, a video of a woman hearing her own voice calling to her saying, "Hey."
What?
And she said it sounded almost like her, but there was a slight difference. But she said when she first heard it, she said it sounded just like me. But as it kept calling to her, she said she could catch a slight difference.
Man.
So can you imagine hearing yourself call to you?
First thing I need to do is call a psych ward, because that would have been my first assumption. I mean, my eyesight sucks, but my ears are good. So to hear my own voice call to me, man, imagine how terrifying that must be. Think about if you were in a dead sleep and then started hearing yourself call out to you. Does it say it could mimic the voice of past loved ones, or they have to be living?
It doesn't say, so I'm assuming it's somebody living. It doesn't say that they mimic. Well, it does say that they mimic a loved one or a close friend, but it doesn't say if they've passed or if they have to be alive.
Because I mean,
So
that's a good
that's
talking point
so
to touch on.
with that, it would be more of a open-ended question.
Because I mean, it would make sense if the person was alive. Because if you knew that person was gone, you clearly wouldn't hear them. But how shocking would it be if it mimicked the voice of somebody who passed? Because your first instinct is gonna be to be like, "What the hell?" And you're gonna go and check it out. Because their main goal, if you watched any mimic video, is to get you to come out of whatever room you're in. So I mean, that would have been a
They also
interesting
give
point.
bad advice or put thoughts in the heads of the person they're trying to mimic, causing that person to question themselves.
Whoa. So that's
So they not only
can read your mind. They also have like a what is that? Like a cognitive manipulation type ability.
yeah, um, I
Mind
would
manipulation. There we go.
yeah, I would say basically they not only can maybe physically attack you if you were to say to open the doors or but they can mentally affect you.
Damn, they're gonna Professor X your ass and shit. That's crazy.
Um, okay, here are some abilities and powers that these entities have. Um, they very durable, while not as powerful as demons or other supernatural creatures. Mimics possess above average strength and agility compared to humans.
So we're kind of like a Batman style comparison, I guess you could say, like peak physical condition. If I would have to kind of put it anywhere, because it doesn't.
Just above average.
Okay,
So
makes sense then.
Um, invisibility. They can temporarily be invisible, allowing them to evade detection. So,
Yeah, because
you
from
will
the
be able to
videos
hear
we've
them.
seen too,
Yeah, most of them you just hear them. You
yeah,
don't.
only very few videos have I ever seen where they make themselves visibly known. So that's pretty
Mind
interesting fun
reading,
fact.
which we've talked about. Um, with that ability, they are able to replicate memories, thoughts, and emotions that you have, to be able to mimic you, where, like they said, where they're so indistinguishable from the original.
So it almost enhances its ability to copy you through, I guess, using like memories and
Yes, what
stuff like that.
that's what it says when I was doing the research on it. Um, it enhances their impersonation skills.
Jesus.
We talked about shape shifting, which allows them to not only take on the physical appearance of the individual they're targeting, but also animals.
See, that would be something I would actually love to see, a video of it mimicking an animal, because I've never seen that.
You
So
know,
that would be
you
awesome.
bringing that up, I one of the first videos on mimics that I saw was a man looking out his door to like a patio or like a deck, and his dog was scratching to get in, and then he pans down and the dog is sitting next to him.
Oh, hail to the no.
So you wanted to say that you would like to see it. So there is evidence of it where you see it actually.
You think there can be a connection between skinwalkers and mimics?
Um,
I would say, like, if you did the
well,
comparison,
skinwalkers don't mimic people. They mimic animals and can take human form. But I've never heard them say they mimic another person.
yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like I've heard varying different things of skinwalkers depending on what Native American culture you read into. I know it's normally a lot more prevalent in like the Navajo community and legends, but the reason I bring that up is to think about it. You have mimics, which would be more an entity, more a spirit form of a skinwalker, and then skinwalkers would be like your actual physical variation of it, I guess. Because I mean, they almost do kind of the same thing.
Well, a mimic can take the form of an animal. Skinwalkers can too. Skinwalkers can take the form, a human form, but it never says it takes the form of a specific human. Mimics do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I was just sitting there, kind of thinking about it as you were reading some of the post notes. I'm like, huh, that kind of, some of it reminded me of skinwalkers, but they were just some varying differences. So I wondered if, kind of like the whole Kasha House thing, how, you know, there was lightning during the incident in 42, the Robert DeFeo thing, at the Amityville house, both had the thunderstorm. So I'm like, maybe there's that weird little connection somewhere.
Um, though they have enhanced strength and agility and the ability to shapeshift and to read minds, they also have weaknesses.
Okay, this I want to hear.
Mimics require you intense concentration to maintain the ability to impersonate. Any disruption or strong emotional reflection can cause them to reveal their true identity momentarily. So if you can, by some chance, cause it to lose focus, it will, its true form will be revealed momentarily. Then it reverts back.
See, that's great. It does sound a lot like spirits in its sense because that's how most ghosts are to like move objects. Normally, once it makes a big presence, like a manifestation or moves an object, it normally takes a lot of go juice out of the spirit. So, I mean, that's an interesting little tidbit.
Well, it does say they're like ghosts, but they have characteristics of demons, and demons and ghosts are
There's
different
some
ends.
related
They're different
parallels.
ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, these definitely sound way more demonic, at least in my honest opinion.
Well, they earlier we talked about them being the bringers of bad news or
Misfortune.
looming danger. So possibility of them being more demonic than just poltergeist or just a spirit.
Yeah, it's just weird that they have so many like unique properties of both something that's physical and metaphysical as well.
Well, it says they're like, while they're like ghosts, they have some characteristics of demons because of their chaotic nature.
But I mean, demons too. They're more a what would you say like a spiritual presence? I guess.
No, demons I feel are more physical because they never actually, some demons never actually existed on the,
The meta. Okay, that makes sense.
so
Because there's some, I guess, like look at terrible people in the world. Like those could be physical demons as well as you have spiritual demons. That cause like possessions.
possession.
Okay, like that's a definitely interesting look on
Um,
it. So I can dig that.
like vampires, they have no shadow or reflection.
Huh. That's definitely an interesting fact.
So the the lack of this of having a shadow or a reflection makes them easy to spot if they pass a mirror or something.
I wonder if that's why
If you,
they
if
look
you're
like
if
people.
you're if you're if you see them like a physical form, you're looking at them, but they're in front of a mirror or something that would cause a reflection. You're not going to see them.
It kind of makes sense if you think about it, because don't they say evil can't look upon its reflection?
I've never heard that, but
It's kind of like think about it. Thundercats, how Mumra can't look at his reflection. I know that ties into something where evil can't look upon itself in its reflection. It's almost like unbearable for it to look at. So I wonder if that's why it looks like people. I'm kind of just throwing things to the wall and see what sticks because these are like probably one of the most unique paranormal anything that I have ever heard of, and especially because, like I said, they just kind of came out of the woodworks.
people with strong wills are said can see straight through a mimic's disguise. So, from hearing that, to me, it sounds like they attack people they feel are weak minded, maybe physically weak.
Weak faith.
So, but somebody who maybe has like you said, a strong faith, is a strong will, a strong mind, would be able to see through the disguise and be able to realize that it's not who the mimic is impersonating.
See, I like that. That's so crazy to hear about.
Um, one of their weaknesses is salt, which is commonly used in a lot of beliefs that they can create barriers against ghosts and
I know it's normally prevalent in a lot of pagan, Nordic, Wiccan, I believe,
um,
stuff to do with a lot of witchcraft.
well, it prevents them from crossing thresholds and
I wonder if they can cross moving water,
or
because they normally say
circles.
spirits can't cross a moving body of water. So, or I don't know.
Is it is it a spirit? Is it more spirit? Is it more demon?
Yeah, because I think demons kind of take a way higher plane and form of existence over a spirit.
Though mimics are supernatural entities, they are vulnerable to silver, which I've noticed silver is very common among a lot of legends, folklore about one way to harm supernatural entities and
Hmm.
demons and things like that. If you weapons like knives, bullets, hence bullets, werewolves. I think even vampires supposedly in legend
Yeah, I've
silver.
heard something similar to that. I think it's because, well, it's probably super inaccurate, but I mean, Dracula 2000, they say, he was Judas, and the coins that he betrayed him with were 30 pieces of silver, which is why vampires are supposedly allergic to silver. I think that's why silver might
Well,
harm
also
things that are evil.
silver is I believe to be a very pure metal.
Hmm.
These weapons made of silver can either just cause harm or even kill them. So they can be killed. And to end their weaknesses and to end with what I have on mimics, there are traps and tests that can be constructed to expose mimics. Um, certain details, they may struggle to replicate specific memories, maybe a specific way you may move, certain mannerism, or even emotional responses. You may be somebody who is very empathetic to somebody, and when they come to you with a problem or whatever, the mimic may not be that way. So with the certain tests, you can test them, and they can sometimes not give the accurate response. And the only trap that I found that they really talk about is a devil's trap.
Hmm.
They said also works, but I couldn't really didn't find a whole lot on that. And that is pretty much what I have on what a mimic is.
Man, that's a lot to take in, cause especially because, like I said, with the whole mimic phenomenon just like kind of blowing up the way it's blown up, and for there to be so many videos and so many encounters, it's just like, why now? What took them so long?
Well, because a lot of the experiences would seem just like every kind of common people saying they experience paranormal activity and stuff until it sounds and like somebody you know or yourself, and people are starting to realize that there are things out there mimicking themselves or other people, someone they care about, a family member, an old friend.
I wonder if it's because now the whole paranormal community has just blown up. People are experiencing more things. I wonder if it kind of
Well,
opened people's susceptibility to be a little bit more open to the otherworldly.
I think we're hearing about it more now. Probably is because there's so much interest in the paranormal that people don't feel embarrassed or like people will not believe them because there's been quite a bit of evidence now of the paranormal. So people are more willing to come out and say, you know, hey, this is what I experienced, or I've seen this, and in my home, this is what's happening.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing that has happened, especially being in the paranormal community ourselves. We went from the only people we could talk to about it were each other, our family, and then with little things here and there that we've experienced, we can only talk to a select few, even outside of the family, who've also had experiences, and we could find solace in each other. Now, you just talk about it, and people are even more interested in just wanting to hear what you have to say. So now you're not looked at like a damn fruitcake out of nowhere, and people are like, "Oh man, you're just you're bullshitting, or you're just making it up because you want attention, or dude, you're nuts, or get back on your pills." Now people are a lot more open to be like, I believe you. I experienced something. I just didn't know who to talk about or who would believe me. That's normally the most common consensus is nobody wants to believe somebody who's like, dude, crazy shit happens to me, and not a damn person believes me. So you just sit there and it festers. And I wonder if like that could be another reason too why mimics make themselves so known, because people who've been experiencing it never talked about it. Like you said, it feeds on weaknesses. To feel like you're alone and isolated and nobody's going to believe you, now it's helping with people kind of getting the word out there. And now I guess now mimics are becoming more known. It's going to help people in that aspect.
Well, the paranormal used to be kind of
Taboo.
and looked down on people. Like you said, people would believe that it was just people making up stuff, or people were crazy, or attention seekers. But there's so many people who are out there investigating, gathering the information, the evidence. It's like you said, out of nowhere, videos of mimics came out, and now they're all over. Now more people are willing to put videos that they've captured and talk about the things they experience without feeling, like I said, embarrassed, or like people are going to look at you like you just making things up, or you're crazy and stuff. Which is why we do what we're doing, is to kind of put it out there, and hopefully soon we'll be able to bring more evidence, video to the podcast. So
Yeah, I would love to even hear people's personal stories, and I would love to share, because you know what? I think there's nothing stronger in the paranormal community than the community itself. And that's why now, I mean, look at universities. They have opened whole subgroups of studies to parapsychology, cryptozoology, all that kind of stuff. And these were subjects that used to get people laughed at. I mean, look at the Ghostbusters as a prime example. They used to think Egon and Spangler and Bankman were just, they were quacks, wasting, the school's fundings for something that may or may not even work. The guy who created the Mel meter, he named it after his daughter died. and that's how he was able to speak with it. So I mean, you took somebody who had no interest in the paranormal, nothing to do with it at first. It took him losing somebody and then seeing everything that's changed to make the Mel meter, and now look. So I mean, that's got to count for something.
Well, I just, well, I believe that most people don't want to admit that the paranormal exists, but yet it's been talked about for centuries. Spirits, specters, ghosts, demons, even monsters. They originate from somewhere.
I mean, just look at literature. I mean, we can start with one: Bible, folklore. I mean, majority of things that we tell our children to make them behave are otherworldly things. You know, like Spanish got La Llorona. I mean, we've got the boogeyman. We've got, we tell them ghosts and everything else. We've got vampires, werewolves. Like, what sparked the supernatural to begin with? It had to start somewhere.
I totally agree.
So, with that, folks, we're going to go ahead and conclude this episode. Leave you all with those lingering questions. So, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Like, subscribe, leave us your stories in the comment. We would love to hear from you guys.
Make sure you hit that notification button so when the next episode drops, you can come and join us.
If there's any subjects you would want to hear us talk about, I mean, it can be anything from Ouija boards to, do you think vampires are better than werewolves? We want the community's engagement, folks. So, with that, we're going to end it there. So, good fright and good night, folks.